Hello, and welcome to my podcast, Empowered to Thrive. I'm your host, Corrine Powell. I'm an intuitive guide, and I absolutely love helping people to heal from within so that they can create a life that they love, a life that they enjoy. We weren't meant to just tolerate and get through life. We were meant to thrive and enjoy the life we're living. Of course, we will have seasons and moments that are difficult and challenging. And the beauty of it is that we can be supported in those moments. I am here to be an aid and a guide to support you. And I hope that you will enjoy not only today's episode, but some of the past episodes if you haven't heard them yet. On this podcast, I talk about all things inner wellness. We also sprinkle in some spirituality and parenting, because as a mom to 3 kids, parenting is a big part of my life. I hope that you enjoy the episode and that there's at least one thing you'll pull from it and start to implement into your own life. If you want to follow me in other ways, you can find me on Instagram, Corrine_Change Radically, or on Facebook, Change Radically. Would you do me a favor and share this podcast with your friends if you hear an episode that resonates with you? And would you also go ahead and give me a rating and review my podcast? It would mean so much to me, and I would appreciate it. I hope that you enjoy the episode and that we connect. Hi, friends. Today's conversation is for any of you that battle and deal with intrusive thoughts. And when I say intrusive thoughts, basically any thought that makes you think you have something to fear, you're less than, any thought that would make you want to shut down, run away, stop you dead in your tracks. It's the thoughts that seem to run over and over through our minds or basically interrupt us in the middle of our day when we might have felt like we were doing fine, and then here comes this thought that stops us and makes us reconsider everything or starts to spiral us downward. And first thing is, you do not have to believe every thought that you have. In fact, if you do believe every thought that you have, you will probably live pretty anxious and pretty depressed because thoughts come and go. And we actually can just get curious. Here's a thought. You may want to look into why the thought is there. Sometimes it's not worth giving the thought much time of day, and you restructure what you're thinking. So there could be times when I'm walking by somebody and I wonder, what do they think of me? Maybe they think this, maybe they think that, and I start to get pretty critical and judgy and nervous based on my preconceived ideas that I am projecting onto someone else. For all I know, the person could have thought I looked beautiful, I was friendly, I was someone that gave off good vibes. But if my thoughts don't reflect that, I'm going to start to create a narrative in my head, which is going to affect my emotional state, which is then going to affect the way I'm walking out my day. And so you have power over your thoughts, and your thoughts are not supposed to be dominating you. Granted, there are many times we think certain ways because of our past life experiences. So thoughts are valid. There are reasons why you can get curious around the thoughts that you think. And like I said, you do want to look into them sometimes because they're going to be helpful stepping stones to give you a window into your past where they may have originated. And you're going to need to know some of the thoughts that you regularly think in order to move forward. As you become mindful and aware of your thoughts, your bodily sensations, your emotions, that is helpful. in the healing journey. And so, first step, start to become aware of the thoughts that run through your mind. Always be open to whatever bodily physical sensations and feelings, emotional states that you have. But even if you can't, if you're so disconnected that you just feel like, I don't know what I'm feeling, and no, I don't know what's going on in my body, then begin by becoming aware of the thoughts. And as you become aware of the thoughts, say they're really disrupting your days. You can do one initial step. It is not going to take care of the root problem. It's going to help you, but you still need to get in touch with your inner child, that echo of your past, and heal the little boy or little girl that you once were who needs some loving attention. Because he or she endured a lot and held it all together. And if you feel like your life is crumbling and you're spiraling out of control, or you're feeling like you're in the middle of the onset of a breakdown or a midlife crisis, I want you to know that that type of situation can happen to any of us and all of us. If we have unresolved, complex trauma from childhood and past experiences that we have not yet been able to look at and heal from, then it will interrupt and disrupt us in our present day. And sometimes, yes, to a very severe degree. So start to grab a hold of the thoughts that you have running through your mind and change them into something that is basically a statement that resonates. You are safe. Everything is going to be okay. Help is nearby. And you are good enough. Because there's themes that run through our thoughts. And a lot of times those themes are saying the opposite of that. They're saying to us, you aren't good enough. You don't measure up. Something horrific is going to happen to you or someone you love. Life is going to change, and it won't ever be the way it is right now. Say you're in a really good spot. You're happy with your life. There are times intrusive thoughts come to say something's going to shift, something's going to change, something's going to get disrupted, tragedy's going to strike. Those thoughts, it's worth countering those thoughts. Now, like I said, this is not the only piece. If I was just suggesting, just change that thought, say, no, nothing bad's going to happen, everything's going to be okay, I'm safe right now. Okay, if you only do that, you do yourself a disservice, because you have that fearful, anxious thought of impending doom for a reason. It's rooted somewhere that needs to be looked at and given love and attention and nurturance so that you can heal that part of yourself. Consider for a moment, if you were a little boy, a little girl who had parents that were not able to regulate their own emotions and did not know how to help you, so you were emotionally neglected. Perhaps you were physically abused, physically neglected, or any other means of abuse or neglect, but at least emotionally neglected, because so many of us could consider ourselves having grown up in good homes, and yet emotional neglect is something that is rampant. It's going on all over, and it's so undetected because it's become something that we expect. We aren't even aware many times of what should not be allowed between parents and children, between teachers and children, between adults and children. So many things are happening that should not be happening. Kids deserve respect. They deserve attention. They deserve love and care. They should not be considered less than simply because they're smaller or they're younger, or an adult thinks that they know more than the child. That's no reason to not give the child a voice, to listen to what they have to say, to care about their feeling states, and to help them return to a joyful place, a happy place. So if you were a child in a home with good parents, good enough parents, but there was emotional neglect, then you may have felt unsafe. Life was not predictable. You didn't feel safe. You weren't sure that help was on the way. If you had something going on within you or outside of you that was causing you to panic and feel afraid. Very easy for a child to feel helpless in a situation where an adult can easily see the way out. But if the child remains feeling helpless, an adult doesn't come and help the child see a way out, then that child will carry that helpless feeling. And if it happens repeatedly, it becomes one of those core beliefs. I don't have what I need. I'm alone. Nobody's here for me. Nobody comes when I need help. It's very easy to translate our experiences into these beliefs that fuel the way we look at life. They absolutely affect our perspective on life, our interpretation of people's actions, their intentions. And our thoughts are able to be traced and give us those windows in to the roots of why. So my suggestion to restructure and counter the intrusive, critical, fearful thoughts is simply one actionable step. In addition to that, it is very important that you're able to heal and give attention to your inner child. That little girl or boy that you once were. Because you have always lived inside of your body. Your body stores the memory. Your psyche knows. You have been living with these feelings. You have been perhaps suppressing them or trying to manage them. And if you're at a place where it's just not working, they're bubbling up to the surface and they're coming up so often throughout the day that it's making it hard to get through your days, then reach out. Let's schedule a session or reach out to another support system that you have that is going to be loving and knowledgeable and help you to get to a place where you're able to heal some of the very unresolved pain. You are worth that. You should get to enjoy the life you're living. We will all struggle with intrusive thoughts, coming in here and there. I think that's part of our human experience. Even this morning, I intended to get work done with a window of time that I had. In the middle of that window of time, I didn't feel like doing the work. I just started to feel like trapped, and as if I just started to feel that physical fatigue and that feeling of depression where I don't want to do this. It's too big. The tasks that I have are going to be overwhelming. They're going to take more time. They're going to take more energy. Maybe I'm not going to know what to do to get it done. And all of those thoughts, all of those feeling states could have made me stop and make no more forward progress. It could have made me shut down or run away. It could have made me do a host of things. So I felt those feelings. I acknowledged them. I recognized what was going on for myself. And I did pause. And I considered, do I want to continue to stick with my original game plan, or do I want to pivot? Because it's okay to change your mind. It's okay to change your plans. But sometimes that's not what's necessary. And for me, I felt like, you know what? I gave myself a little break and I wanted to jump in and get some of those tasks done. But I'm not going to push myself too hard. I'm getting some tasks done, and I'm going to give myself another break. And I'm going to check in again with myself. Do I feel up for doing a few more tasks? I'm going to have kindness on myself and be compassionate. And I'm going to be the wise, loving adult that my inner child needs. Because I bet you it is the echo of my past showing up for me today. The little girl that knew how tired she often was because she was doing so much for her family, for the people around her. Because her tendency was to people please and to make sure everybody else was okay, even if she wasn't, just so that she could create some feeling of safety within her world. If everybody else was okay, everybody else was under control, then she could be okay. She could feel safer. And I want that little girl to know that I am here for her. I am supporting her. I am loving her and taking good care of her. And no, she doesn't have to run herself ragged. She doesn't have to exhaust herself. But I can help her know she can do some things and take a break. And do more things and reevaluate. And rest in between those moments. And find ways to enjoy her day in between the work. And that's what I will do. And that's my suggestion to you. To start to recognize that in this body you're presently living in, there is an echo of your past. There is a younger part of yourself that needs your attention, that needs your compassion, that needs your patience and your love. Will you offer that to your inner child? And I'm always, always, always here for you. Reach out if I can be of help. Much love from me. We've come to the end. What did you think about what you heard? I hope that there's something you pull from today's episode and start implementing it into your life. Create the change that you want to see, the change that you hear about. You have the opportunity to transform your life, and I'm ready to link arms with you and to help and guide you to the life that you want to live. If you resonated with what you heard today and it touched you, would you share it with your friends? Would you also go ahead and rate my podcast and write a written review? It would mean so much to me. I hope that we'll connect, whether it's for a session or just to connect because I enjoy meeting new people. You can find me on Instagram, Kareen_Change Radically, or on Facebook, Change Radically. You can also always email me, Kareen@changeradically.com. If you have thoughts, questions, or anything that you just want to talk about, send me an email. I hope that you have a wonderful week. But no matter what your week is like, in the moments that are quiet, maybe it's when you pillow your head at night, or when you're driving in the car or taking a walk, or maybe it's going to be in the midst of the chaos with your children or the craziness of work. I hope that you'll remember how significant you are, that there is meaning and value to your life, and that I, for one, am so glad that you're alive. Catch you again next week.